What's up everyone, this is NoraCat and welcome back to another Duel Masters video duel. On the left we have Nino, once again back with his 4-color Deckout deck, the one you saw in the 2-deck tournaments a few months back. Actually maybe just a month back actually. And then on the right we have Nurgains, who's been on one video so far, but this is with a second deck. He's playing a light water kind of liquid people deck, like a mid-range deck. Now, the thing about Nino's deck is that it's a very late game oriented deck. It doesn't do that well in the beginning, early stages of the game. It really tries to build up, but once it gets going, man, it's really hard to deal with it. It just has a lot of ability to keep the opponent at bay. Runs a lot of shield triggers, board wipes, just everything you can imagine. If you want to see this deck list or the deck list and me going over it, there is a video where I go over every deck from the 2-deck tournament. I just go over every deck and what I think about it and what I think could be improved. And I remember I said that in our format, this deck was the ultimate late game kind of greedy deck, but it was also one of the strongest deck out decks and the deck out deck of our format, I'd say. Runs slash charges. I think this version of the deck that Nino's playing today is running future slash as well. So we'll definitely see how it goes. Already a 4-mana volcano charger to get rid of the Hawkers, just to remove any kind of chance of evolution later, or even just the board presence could be annoying for Nino, so he just gets rid of it with a charge and run away. Volcano Charger being a very, very good removal, because it not only does it kill a creature, it also goes to your mana zone afterwards where you can retrieve it, but it also ramps you up and gives you the ability to play a 6-drop a turn earlier. So Nino now has to just kind of figure out what he's going to do. There's a Blizzstorm mana, he's going to Vine Charger. Not a card you see very often, but in this case it does work really well. Gives him more mana. Nino's already up to like 8 mana or 7 mana or something. It's absolutely crazy. Nino runs so many charges. He's all about those early game charges and just dealing with the opponent in different ways. Glory Snow from Noggins to keep up with the mana into Emerald to set down a shield. The thing about Nino's deck is that he doesn't really care about shield triggers. Most of the time, he's either going to just Cataclysm the shields. The 13 mana spell that just destroys 3 opponent's shields, which just limits shield triggers and put them into the graveyard. Or he's just gonna deck you out. So shield triggers doesn't do anything against this deck. This is one of those matchups where Emerald just seems kind of not doesn't do anything. I'm not like Emerald just isn't a good card in this matchup. It doesn't do much against Nino's deck because Nino again is so like non-caring about tricks that it's almost like doing absolutely nothing to actually deal with it. So yeah, Emerald is a good card, especially in the more creature focused like mid-range matchups or even against Rush, but against Control, especially a deck like Nino's where he doesn't really care about breaking shields. Emerald really is showing the weaknesses of the card. Even though it seems like a really strong card, there is actually a lot of weaknesses to Emerald that you don't really get to see unless you play with it a lot against different kind of matchups. Because I've heard people say that Emerald is like one of the strongest cards in the game, and it is really strong, especially because of the Cyberlord tag that you can like type. That means you can play like Lucian and Merfolk, for example. But um, the effect itself can be countered pretty easily by different kind of strategies. So see what Nino does here. Fresh Crawler on the board. Very strong. Nuggins has a Tajimon in play, but doesn't do much against Nino again because he doesn't really care about attacking, and even if he does attack, he's gonna find a way to get rid of the Tajimon. There we go, there's Apocalypse Vice. Destroying, nuking the board. Nuking Nuggins board. Aquaguard from Nuggins to try to get back, build a board presence, but at this point, Nino has already pretty much controlled the game. It's the problem with Neo's deck is that you really have to be like aggressive against him. You can't like sit back. I mean, you can, but um, you really have to be running like a strategy that's similar to his deck. You have to run like a really like stally control deck yourself in order to like keep up with it. Nino just doesn't have many answers other than shield triggers against like early aggression. But once he gets that mid to late game, it's really difficult for Nino to lose actually against most decks. Bliss Totem coming out is going to start to begin to recycle some of the cards that Nino's played back to the mana zone. Really strong with some of the board wipes, especially, and some of the removal spells. But just strong with all the spells that Nino's playing. I had a discussion with Nino about maybe running Essence Elf in this kind of a deck. because you have so many spells and you can potentially play Essence Self turn 2 and then play like a spell turn 3, like play, charge turn 3. But Nino has decided against it, and I think that's pretty smart. I don't think he needs Essence Self in this kind of a deck. I think the deck does fine without it. Although me being such a big fan of Essence Self, I would I would personally put it in every deck that runs this many spells, just because I love my Essence Self so much. But I don't think that I'm necessarily right in that opinion. I just think I would put it in just for the memes, just because I like Essence Self so much. But honestly, I don't think that it needs it. This deck is fine without Essence Self. I just really enjoy that card. So I would like force it into anything that runs this many spells in a heartbeat. Once again, activating Bliss Totem, getting back everything. He is so much mana. Future Slash, there's a Mana Nexus and a Proclamation Ref, so just so much advantage from the Bliss Totem. That's the thing, if Bliss Totem sticks around, the amount of mana that you generate and recycling ability you have with Flash Crawler and Mystic Dreamscape and Bliss Totem, it can be very difficult. Spiral Gate back Bliss, I think that's a good play. You don't want to Spiral Gate a Flash because then Thrash can just get back something else. It can be more dangerous. Slash Charger. I think he's just getting rid of. I think when he Future Slash, he got rid of Crystal Paladin, just so he couldn't get rid of the blockers. So I think that's pretty smart. Comes a Terror Pit for the Hawkers. Not really necessary. I mean, guess you don't want him to evolve into Lancer, but yeah, I guess that makes sense actually. You don't want the Hawkers to evolve into Lancer. Electro Explorer Sirion, not a liquid people, but it is a 3 mana 4K. So it could have potentially come in here, but there's the Flash Crawler in the way. Pit for that as well, another Pit. And then another Bliss Totem, I think that might be the same one that got bounced earlier. Hawkers from Nurgains to try to rebuild the board and get some presence going. And is just like running away with the game. At this point, he's counting his mana, he's gonna play some kind of big spell. He's gonna play some, yeah, here comes a Bliss Totem, and then he can also play Bassa to kill the Hawkers. At this point, yeah, I can't really say much. This deal is pretty over. Nurgains is Bassa locked, so unless he plays something bigger than 8k, Nino is going to be able to swing into his creature every turn. So Miss Rias and Aquaguard. Obviously, now we can block if Basta swings into Miss Rias and Emerald as well. But again, like he's gonna lose another creature this turn, guaranteed, pretty much. Whether that be Aquaguard or Miss Rias, is probably gonna be the guard. It's just really rough, and you don't really want to draw in that many cards either because Nino really thrives on you drawing cards. There's a Bliss of Spears, so board wipes, gets rid of everything. Nino really just thrives on the whole, people drawing a lot of cards because he's a deck out deck. So he wants you to draw cards. He wants you to get closer to taking yourself out, and then you can't really draw anything good because Nino is using all his mana, all his times to like remove the threats that you could be drawing that are good. So it is a very very rough kind of game. And I've had my troubles with this deck. I think this is one of the strongest late game decks in the game. It's extremely greedy, but because of the way our meta is, because no one really plays Rush. That's the thing about our meta. If you didn't know, our meta has almost no Rush decks, right? Everyone plays like mid range or control. Pretty much every deck in our format is like mid range or control. For some reason, no one really plays Rush. So and Rush really is like absolutely crap on this deck. But since no one plays it, it has a really really strong place in our meta because it counters what everyone's playing. So here comes a Mystic Greenscape. He's gonna get back the Cataclysm for sure, so you can play that. Let's see what he does here. I think he has more than 13 mana, so he can definitely play. Hey, so much mana. Plus, you get everything back with Bliss. Invincible Cataclysm to get rid of 3 shields, and yeah, that's just the 3 Emerald shields, that Nuggins had placed. There's a Slash Charger, I think. Yeah. So gonna take out more cards from Nuggins. Shame by the camera, we can't really see what he takes out, but just take my word for it that it is something that doesn't really matter at this point because Nuggins is down to 3 shields, almost no deck. Nino has full board control. Nuggins can't do much with this kind of deck. You need something aggressive. You need to be aggressive, or you need something that's aggressive to deal with this kind of a deck. Eureka Charger, draw a card, draw a card. Just not the best. You don't want to draw cards. when you're playing against a Deckout deck that much. But so now Nino's gonna play another Mr. Dreamscape, and at this point he can actually just get back the Invisible Cataclysm, get rid of the last 3 shields. One of them was built by the Estol, and then he can just swing in with Bliss Totem after that and kill him because this gets through all the shield triggers. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a Prometheus on a spell, except it gets rid of 3 shields when you play. It does cost 13. He's gonna slash for the hell of it. Why not? Just get rid of see what Nugget has in his deck. And then he's just gonna play the Cataclysm and get rid of 3 last shields. And then the Bliss is gonna swing in for the game. And Nino takes it, which was a very dominant performance here. And I don't think that many people are ready for that deck. I keep saying that this is one of my favorite decks in our meta, just because of how insanely fucking greedy it is. But yeah, it does work insanely well in this kind of a deck, in this kind of a meta, because again we have a super like mid range like late game controlling meta, and that's when this kind of deck really shines, when you don't have anything that counters it really. So I think if people start playing more aggressive decks, that's why I like my Modified Nature deck, because it kind of counters that deck, or at least has a better matchup against it than like most of the other mid-range decks has. I like my aggro. You need to play aggro, or you need to play an even greedier control deck, or as greedy control deck, or you need to play like a rush deck to beat it really. I think. Anyway, that has been it for me. Really nice to see that deck again. Nurgains, uh, Nurgains plays a lot of mid range, so Nino's deck is just gonna be a very favorable matchup. Also against things like dragons or just anything that's like kind of a mid range, kind of a tempo based deck. Nino's deck is just gonna absolutely wreck it, I feel like. So anyway, this has been it for me, and I hope you enjoyed the video duel, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.